What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 12 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Kairos Fateweaver Old World campaign. So as we saw last time, change met to the unchanging as Thoric Ironbrow and his, 2.5-ish stacks were obliterated by Kairos and his little ducklings here. No problem there, and it looks like the strength of the Ironbrow's expedition is pretty severely diminished. Granted, Kairos himself won't be able to take advantage of that as he will be moving away shortly as soon as he meets up with these armies, but the Blue Scribe's army can start dealing with the remnants of these dwarfs. Granted, we also don't really want these mountains, but hopefully we could sort of do some swapping with the USAC and get their territories more down here while we take a couple of the, or finish up with this territory and then grab one of these as well. Mostly I just want the one with these 3 cults, even if it is a yellow territory, and will be annoying in terms of the control and whatever. But all good, or at least I hope all good. Just gotta link up with Jar and Grund, and well, I guess we'll also have to see whether we need to help them out down there. I do think that these orcs are doing pretty well down there, judging by the fact that they have 11 settlements and are strength rank 13. Oh wow. Huh. That'll be something fun for the Blue Scribes and the Flame Army to do because, well, Kairos ain't gonna be there no more based on the vote. We'll be sending him to the Empire in Bretonia. Anyway, speaking of Kairos, let's start moving and stuff. Now, in terms of what we want to do here, let's do this. We'll give TBA Corvum the Furies that were currently being held by him to Ragnar held in Mouth, and at least temporarily move them here, just so that this army can essentially function on its own. You can start oh, you don't really need to channel. Start moving towards Blizzard Peak, like so. And then we'll move TBA Corvum with you. Rel will follow Kairos, eventually to trade all of his troops to him, and then delete himself while Kairos teleports to the Empire. Do you want to loop back around also to Gorge or Rock before the enemy does something about it? Anyway, let's uncollect the income here. We can... do we get rid of the thaumaturgic load? Yeah, we'll make this into a money settlement, so we'll get rid of it for now. Although at the same time, most likely we'll be trading these territories, so maybe military would be the way to go. Anyway, Kairos, you are going to try to go to Bulgers Camp, and... you're not suffering attrition anymore? Interesting. Wait, why are you not suffering attrition, mountain attrition anymore? Were we not having a lot of trouble with that earlier? Am I crazy? Oh. Is that... No, I was about to say, is the Tzeentch corruption fixing it for us, but it isn't here, at least. Not entirely sure. Not that I'm complaining, mind you. Let's just say Kairos is flying over the stuff and thus not suffering the attrition. I honestly don't see any enemies here, so I think we can just risk pushing Kairos out further so that he can guarantee taking Bulgers Camp and then moving northward, probably through the Great Hunt, but as fast as we can to meet up with these guys. Alrighty, that is Kairos. Who else needs to move? Azir Fate Blaze. I think, as I mused last episode, what we'll want to do is want to actually trade Wadi El Mutsil to these guys. Like so, which will give us the vassalage. Rather than going northward here, it'll be another Slaanesh faction that will be essentially guarding our coastline, and I really don't mind that. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let them fight the rats. Huh. Actually, I wonder. How are the rats doing? Ooh, not too bad, actually. All right, well, let them fight the rats and possibly the Bretonians as well. Oh, Bretonians. Oh, now I'm just realizing, man, what if we go up there and... I mean, what's the likelihood that these guys are going to fight some Bretonians later on? Fairly low, I would wager. On the other hand, the Slaaneshi should be able to handle them just fine. I mean, with the bug of the Slaaneshi with their infinite armies, they're probably in a fairly ideal position to deal with this. Although, I noticed this. Notice that Nakari no longer seems to have his infinite armies. Maybe when you vassalize a Slaaneshi faction, it no longer has that bug. Huh, I wonder if that's the case. We could just fix all the Slaaneshi? Interesting. Go figure. That's how you fix Slaanesh, folks. But anyway, Vizier Fate Blaze. I guess you can... I'm gonna hope that we can leave these guys alone for now. We should probably take these 2 territories, though, just in case. I don't really care about the Knights of Origo. It's just that these guys will probably start pushing rat armies down to Al Rahim Dunes, and we do actually want to keep those. So, Fate Blaze, I'm going to have you channel, and then move out here. Are we immune to attrition? Why are you not suffering any kind of attrition anywhere? Well, whatever. Move to El Kabeth, and I assume that's going to be full of rats as well, and just be careful. It looks like these two armies have moved away, but, oh, the rats are also at war with the Knights of Origo. That works out well for us. Anyway, that looks good. Amon Shakai, you are one more turn from being ready. Drillas and Arvax, what are you at mono-wise? Ooh, okay, you're down to like half. Okay, let's move back into our own territory briefly. Channel for a bit until we're maxed out for a turn or two, and then just start raiding again. Like so. Alrighty, especially since the other armies are now on the approach. Far more to Woemaker. Okay, so there's, camera. There's a couple things we want to do with you. Also, can we start, let me just see here. Can we start collecting income here? No. Unfortunately not, but oh well. You want to, or you wanted to, in theory, make a couple of the, mutaliths, but you know what? Maybe we just keep on pushing onward and level up and then make them at the Circle of Vainglory instead. You've been holding on in terms of your fighting perfectly well, so why not just keep going? Keep risking it. Risking it anyway. Rella's good, and I believe that's it, or it's nearly it. We have two other things to do. Thing the first, changing of the ways, we have transfer settlement available once more, and we'll want to make use of it. Now, as to how we'll want to make use of it, there is another, I'll get into this in a second, but there's another Norscan tribe, the Earthfjordlings, that we will want to get on our side, especially since they have the Hall of Urslo, which has been pumped up to tier 5. And yeah, I think this confirms it. Factions that become your vassals become weaker, because other Norscan factions have leveled up to tier 5. The ones that we vassalized early, like, this is one that we vassalized the late. The Tamax we got at the very end, and notice that they stopped building buildings. These guys we got at the very start, and they haven't upgraded past tier 3 here, and tier 4 here, whereas these guys and the other guys have upgraded to tier 5. So I'm completely convinced that as soon as you vassalize an ally, they just become super weak. And you could say that it's because of tribute, but each vassal only provides us like 300 gold in tribute, so it's really not that much. It wouldn't be making any kind of dent in background income or just generally the kind of income that the AI pulls in. So I really don't think that's the issue. Anyway, which territory do we trade? Where is Kazidravik? I guess we could do Kazidravik. I don't want to trade any of their sort of good territories because I'm a little bit worried about them. A little bit worried about losing them. So we'll do this. We'll take Kazidravik for ourselves to... Where's Kairos? I feel like we should be at the top of the list, not in the middle of this somewhere. There you go. We'll take Kazidravik. It won't be tradable immediately, but as long as Sioktraken doesn't rebel, and as long as we can build a couple of military structures here, it should be fine. So we'll build you, we'll delete you, and then next turn we'll build it, and then I'm just going to assume that... Yeah, okay, it's worthless for now, but it won't be in a bit. Actually, let's double check changing of the ways. Force Peace doesn't help us right now. Track Army, it's Force War that we really want and we're working on. Force Rebellion could potentially have some uses, though I do wonder where we want to, force said rebellion. There is another thing. And though it is risky, especially with some of our newer territories. Wait, let's see how the public order looks. Okay, so you don't collect income. You... don't collect income. You are basically even. Alright, don't collect income here either. Don't worry, I have my reasons. And the reason is this. I think it's time to get Sarthoriel, the Everwatcher, on our side, especially since we're trying to now move towards the objectives of the campaign. We're past the sort of me just screwing around stage, which is just doing whatever. We do have to work towards the Daughters of the Forest, and thus Sarthoriel, who is here, is well positioned to do so. The only big issue is that we're currently at war with the Bone Rattlers, and maybe we should peace out with them temporarily and then redeclare war on them later. Alright, either way, let's take Sarthoriel, put him on the team. Wait, can we get any kind of... okay, wait. Sarthoriel, give us money, because we're gonna confederate you anyway. Okay, this is all the money that you have. We'll take your 6.9k or whatever it was, and then confederate you. Like so. Alrighty, now, out of curiosity, is Sarthoriel wounded, or is he up and running? We're also at war with the regular Kislevites, which is something of a problem. Oh, they got a Centaur. Good. And, ooh, hello, free Chaos Knights. I like that. I like that. Ooh, Svidora was rank 5. Not bad at all, Sarthoriel. We have the ability to build Lords of Change. He certainly invested in that. Alright, now we are bordering a lot of enemies, potentially. Will these guys peace out? They will peace out. You know what? Here's what we'll do. We will peace out with these orcs for now while we despoil the lands of men, and then we will return to them later on. Give us your money. Like so. We need the cash anyway to upgrade our new territories. And, oh, wow. They don't dislike us. Huh. Wait, they like the treaties with all the other Chaos factions? If they like the treaties with all the other Chaos factions, why do the orcs keep betraying us? Do we try to make Azag a friend? I don't know, man. I don't know if it'll work. Huh. Well, just look at that. Khorne hates Azag, but they're in a non-aggression pact. It's quite interesting. Huh. This place. That's quite interesting as well. Also, what do you have? Fixated. I don't particularly like it for an iridescent core of metal. I think that's no dice for you. We could temporarily... Okay, don't collect income here. We could upgrade this so that it can defend itself. Just out of curiosity. We could trade it and vassalize the exiles of Khorne and just keep pumping up those vassals. The problem with the Khornate vassals is that they will probably not like a few things. Huh. I don't mind the demons. The Norskins might not... actually, the Norskins probably wouldn't care too much about this. I guess it's the Warriors of Chaos that are going to be the real problem. Because of the aversion. How does Archaon feel about us right now? He doesn't hate us. I guess we just need a few more declarations of war. Making Scarbrand serve us might be amusing, though. He does hold a lot of territory here. It's not like we're necessarily intending to hold it ourselves. You know what? I'm gonna wait on this. It's a possibility, but as long as we hold Macedon here, we can probably still do it. Upgrade the crystalline walls, and don't waste your money on the warplinth here, I think, though, because it's not collecting money. Alright, Svidora. Now, this place is unlikely to fall because it has a very decent garrison. Kasserk has the cultist outpost with pottery, which is great. The problem is it will probably also not be able to defend itself. Alright, fair enough. Alright, so let's put these guys together in an army. We have Whisperer here, barrier hit points, pretty solid trait. We have several of those ourselves, and then you have a Blaze, which is not as good, I would say. I don't dislike the barrier replenishment trait, mind you, but it's not as good of a trait. But you are a caster, but nonetheless, we are going to have you go here, we're going to have you pop into this army. And then we are going to start recruiting our beastmen force. Alright, you're gonna go here, and what do you have, Exalted Hero? Fortunate. Oh, it's kind of terrible. Yeah, you're not worth it. We'll get a better one. Maybe I should have waited to delete you, but it's too late. You, Morcar Humongous. Love the name, but anyway, disband you. We don't need to pay for you right now. We also need to check out how the mana is doing here. Okay, so Northern Linsk is doing okay. River Tubal. Oh, because we have Svenelev there? Alright, that's fine. Lose this. And this is just... Oh, there's 2 territories here. I didn't know that we had Aesir Pass. Don't collect the income here. This could also be traded to the Khornates. It's probably going to get destroyed. Ooh, hello. What do we have here?
Are you after a drink?
We can't trade Aesir Pass to you? Darn. Alright, so we need to probably take this territory out. It already has a rebellion? Well, it has raiding. I was hoping to force a rebellion there. And then I was hoping to vassalize this little Norskin faction here. The rebellion wouldn't help us. Alright, well, you just stay as you are. If we lose you, we lose you. It doesn't really matter over much. Alright, how about Sarthoriel? He is down for 5 turns. He has targeting plus 15% for spells and wins a magic power reserve capacity plus 15. Kinda meh. I do wonder whether he has any other special abilities or anything like that, but we'll see. Anyway, as I said, we want to get started on our Beastmen army. I like the fact that we can build Chaos Knights here. I And obviously the lords have changed, but anyway, let's get one Centaur to match you and start on those Sandgors. Once again, I do wish they weren't so expensive, but somebody's gotta get to work, and it's gonna be you. And if you guys are at Casterca, you can, I guess, defend it. Anyway, we were looking at the Winds of Magic manipulations, so we don't need the Winds of Magic here either. Does this do anything for us? I was wondering whether this being maxed out would help us at all, but I'm not so sure that it does. We don't need any of the extra points in the East Trollheim Mountains. And we can use those to bump up other territories like you. Don't care about these two. This is all maxed out by the looks of it. And yes, this is extremely important. We can max out Woe's End for now. It's not super important either because we're not holding on to it, but, well, neither are these because we're not holding on to them. Alright, we'll do that. Then, what is this? Oh, okay, I thought this was one of our territories, and I was like, what the heck's going on over there? Anyway, you guys. Okay, we'll max out you, and then we can just, at random, start maxing out these ones. Whichever ones give us actual money, so you will give us 150, and that's about it. Alright, we'll max you out with 150 as well. As much money as we can get to fund our newly acquired beastmen. Alright, it looks pretty good to me. That, I believe, now is the end turn. We do have a little bit of money remaining, though. Ugh, I don't like all the public order losses, but what can you do? Not much we can do to fix that. There should be a couple of territories where we can probably invest in... we could actually max out all of this, but it's probably not super important right now, so I think we'll wait on the Sarthoriel territories. We should also confederate the Demon Prince. Or confederate, vassalize, rather than just continuing to fight chaos until the end of the campaign. Let's upgrade the Trails of Kashut. It is far away from any enemies, and it is a solid investment, I think. Could upgrade the Lost Athenium, and while the money here is fine, we'll get a few more buildings. Anyway, that looks good to me. So we'll skip outpost upgrade. Oh, right, I was going to talk about this. I know, lots of yammering and not enough fighting, but I got a couple of more mods for the sort of tail end of this campaign, and those mods will enable us to build our Norscan units and others. Okay, I can't show... Okay, well, there's no longer the limit of 20 units, so we can have as many Norscan units in our armies that we want. And the other thing is that at tier 3 outposts, the outpost will unlock the entire Norscan roster, which means we would eventually have access to whatever mammoths or skin wolves or whatever we want, rather than potentially waiting for them to tech up and them never being able to do so, which will make a lot of these other Norscan allies that we actually have actually useful to us. So I think I like that. Anyway, you can defeat Fraltra. Oh. Okay, fine, defeat Karn, whatever. Yeah, so we'll need to slowly but surely start building outposts with every Norscan faction, not Steel Fist Reavers, but every faction that we can actually benefit from, including the USAC, but, you know, in a little bit, once we have the money. Outpost upgrade, Celt upgrade, and turn. Alright, and it looks like the Slaanesh are back for more. We got Slaanesh with some Nurglites, and we got 2 full stacks, lots of veterancy on them, tons and tons of Marauders, Demonettes, lots of Seekers and Seeker Chariots, and yeah, basically full 3 stacks. And Farmort is effectively out of mana. Maybe I should have sent him back to channel, but oh well, he's just going to keep leading his addled, forsaken army through the realm of the Dark Prince. Should be fun. Oh, let's quick save it just in case the game crashes, and although it has happened a couple of times in this campaign, not as much as the Dwarf campaign, mind you, but anyway, go.
The Windlord has shown me their destiny, and only death
They dare to live on fertile land. Let's take it.
Alrighty, here we go. Realm of Slaanesh, still looking pretty darn good, you got to admit. While the number of Slaaneshi ever continue to dwindle here, still there are a lot of them remaining, as Farmort continues annoying the, well, I guess this one major Slaaneshi faction here. Those that are still around get awoken from their stupor slowly but surely, and more armies will come at us, like in this particular situation. We'll see if we can hold off 3, but I don't imagine we'll have too much trouble because Farmore did perfectly well against them in previous times. Anyway, we're going to start the battle off by annoying Mr. Silvox here, Exalted Keeper of Secrets at, I think it was level 18 or something like that, and great stats, not so great magical defenses. In fact, Silvox has 0, so a couple of blue fires will even bring Big Boy here down. And these, of course, are the regular blue fires. They don't have the intensity of Kairos's, and 135 rather than 200%, but it should be more than sufficient. There we go, another blast, and Silvox is down to a quarter of its HP. Ain't no way it's going to reach our main line. Oh, I'm going to summon a unit of Furies, perhaps to try to chase down our little blue horror, and there we go. Down goes, or iridescent horror, herald, whatever you are. Yeah, iridescent horror. Down goes Silvax, long before he reaches our main line. And once again, we're waiting, gonna be using those little spine cliffs to our advantage, as the enemies cannot pass them. Our iridescent horror has returned to our main line and has then landed on the ground among the line of Forsaken and Chaos Spawn, so that the Furies that were chasing it would have to follow it to their demise and down below. And our Exalted Hero is going to do the exact same thing. The Furies tried to annoy him in the sky, and now they're trying to find a place to land, only to get torn to shreds by those Chaos Spawn. Unfortunate small aspect of this is that our Banner of Change activated, and thus a Chaos Spawn unit does get summoned on field, and its time summoned on field starts ticking away. A bit of a shame, but what can you do? Hopefully we won't need it. As usual, we have our Marauders out front, in front of the Forsaken and the Chaos Spawn. Since we're using this army to hold the line with the Forsaken and Chaos Spawn, which you're generally not supposed to do, supposed to take advantage of their super high melee attack and charge and mobility. We are having the Marauders out front because they can take the charge much better than the Forsaken can, with their, for example, 50 melee defense. Oh wait, no, that's the... Wow, Demon Nets have 50 melee defense? That's solid. Marauders have 45. Less melee defense than Demon Nets, that's interesting. And, oh, well, somebody just had a bad day, but anyway, they're still going to have a much better melee defense than the units of Forsaken. Well, they'll take a few charges, take a little bit of damage from the enemy, and as soon as they start losing enough HP or enough units, we'll simply send them behind our lines and then rotate in all the Forsaken. Chaos Spawn are still fighting, including Big Boy here, the weird spawn, just sending jerks a-flying with every frenzied swing of those crab claws. And every big ol' spin to win. Okay, you should really not go ahead of the line like that. That's not so good. You're gonna get trapped. You're just lucky that they don't have any Chosen or anything that could surround and destroy you quickly, because if that was the case, the AI absolutely could have taken advantage of the way that your animation sends you into the fray. Anyway, the enemy are still stuck, but the vast majority of the enemy army has not even yet approached us, so we haven't used our Cataclysm on the enemy, and we'll be saving it for that time. What we can do, however, is pop that Trickster Shard and then use the Soul Leech of Tzeentch, reducing the enemy melee defenses, and then popping a blue or pink fires, rather, overcast through the enemy line, heavily damaging them in combination with that Spell Shard? Trickster Shard. And depending on if the enemy even had any spell resistance, either way, those Marauders aren't having a good time. Granted, our Marauders aren't having a great time either, as they've had to be rotated out of the front line, as they have started to take damage. This one, for example, having lost 50% of its HP. Good use of them, however, I think, as our Forsaken and our Chaos Spawn remain pretty much at full HP at the current time, and can keep fighting those devoted Marauders of Slaanesh, whose armor actually looks pretty decent. Not as good as our armor, of course, but decent. Anyway, looks like our Chaos Spawn have run out of time and have melted away. I suppose those Furies did achieve something after all. The big old pile of enemies has arrived, and it's time to pop our Cataclysm spell. This is Tzeentch we're talking about after all, and while perhaps it does feel a little bit bad to be dropping Cataclysms on enemies constantly, it's part of how our faction works. And it would feel wrong to not have magical mastery as a big part of our faction. And the way that we win battles. Anyway, our Chaos Sorcerer Lord has moved out to join the weird spawn in the middle of the fray. It looks like about a half of the enemy army has been cleared out by that Cataclysm in combinations with the other spells that have dropped, and we have broken the cohesion of our line. It looks like with the enemy army dwindling to a degree. I mean, the balance of power is still in their favor, but I think the auto-resolve is severely underestimating the damage from our spawn and our Forsaken. But anyway, we have broken our line cohesion and are moving outward towards the enemy. We got to get a little bit more action for all of the Chaos spawn. And hey, we're in the realm of Slaanesh, so, well, that's where you're gonna find it. Alrighty, summoned unit of blue horrors, also trying to focus down those darn Seeker chariots. Not that they have the mass to break through the lines of Chaos spawn, mind you. What are we at in terms of stats, incidentally, on the spawn here? 65-57 with stand or die, so at least while stand or die is up and running, they're pretty solid. I think, I can't be 100% sure, I gotta double check, but since we're planning to have 2 Exalted Heroes plus our Lord in here, we should possibly be able to have stand or die up and running at 100% uptime, because we'll have 3 Lords or Heroes able to constantly spam it. Or, well, no, not spam it, but you know what I mean. Use it one after the other. I guess the army is then spamming it, but the individual units are not because of the cooldowns. Anyway, the bounce power has finally shifted in our favor, only to about 55%, and still more enemy units making their way onto the battlefield, but, well, they no longer have the critical mass necessary to actually threaten us here, simply because the reinforcements arrive in essentially a trickle onto the battlefield and thus into our lines, and while there is a perpetual fight happening and our units keep battling it out, there's just not enough enemy units to overrun us anymore. And while I'm sure that our units will take damage, claim their souls for Slaanesh, yeah, good luck with that. You might be able to claim a couple souls for Slaanesh, but I think Tzeentch is going to get a fair few more here. Although admittedly, most of the enemy losses would be, well, I was about to say most of the enemy losses would be demons, but there are plenty of marauders still booking it on out of there. And as far as I know, Slaanesh isn't super happy about failure. A cruel and jealous god that is most likely to grow bored of its followers. And I think those running marauders are going to have a pretty bad day. I mean, especially after this faction lost the Palace of Slaanesh as well. Alrighty, and it looks like the battle is very nearly ours now. The bounce power is at about 65% in our favor, and I know that doesn't sound like it's nearly ours, but we are, I think, nearly at critical mass in terms of army losses for the enemy. Sure, reinforcements are still making their way onto the battlefield, but sooner rather than later, I'm willing to bet that they will just shatter rather than attempting to even approach the blob. And we are blobbed up now. There is no reason to maintain cohesion. A and B, it does feel kind of appropriate for the piles of spawn and Forsaken to, you know, devolve into this sort of fighting. Kind of like Bloodletters will march in ordered ranks and then, you know, devolve into sort of frenzied fighting. Same type of deal with the Forsaken and Chaos Spawn. Frankly, keeping Chaos Spawn in ordered ranks is already a bit of a stretch. Alrighty, and there we go. That's what I was talking about. We still have, what, 4 more units moving in to the into the fray with full HP, as well as a few demonic units, but they all begin to melt away. Army losses have begun to tell, and the enemy has realized that there is no hope of it actually destroying us. Last of these Seekers desperately charging on in before they melt away. Oh, look at this one Forsaken running away. Oh, little waving crab claws that he's got. Hello, little buddy. You're one of the ones without a hood, eh? These guys do have hoods, right? Yeah, they do. Okay, I was just like, I remember you guys having hoods. Probably hence the hoodwinked name. Works on 2 levels. From whoever commented that one. Nice. Anyway, with that, the battle is done. We're gonna try our best to chase the enemy down, but frankly, these are Slaanesh units, and even our Forsaken are going to be too slow to actually catch them. All we can do is hope that our little flyer here can cast a few more spells and bring a few more enemies down in that way. Heroic victory and the fall of 3 more armies, including an exalted keeper of secrets. Alrighty, there we go. Oh, looks like the Exalted Keeper of Secrets does get reforged, but that's the AI luck for ya. Exalted Keeper of Secrets reforged all the lords that were demonic got reforged, and of course their Seekers did as well. But not that it matters much, as all those droves of Slaanesh were still unable to overcome the power of the Tzeentch Forsaken. Very nice. As speaking of, Lost to the Labyrinth, let's see the damage. Ooh, looks like the Hoodwinked with 13k. Yep, the Hoodwinked carry the day for those guys. And ooh, Grimoire Eaters, 25,000 damage. Pretty darn solid, and it looks like they ate not only Grimoires that day, but plenty of Slaanesh as well. Though last year's interns, and just as planned, were very close, hot on their heels, as it were, in terms of kills. Anyway, we'll take the money. It's 3,000 gold, not going to say no to that, regardless of the fact that we got slightly damaged.
I honor you.
Alright, so let's see how that vassalage is looking. Ally mission successful. Okay, that's great for... Okay, that's a lot of missions successful. Damn. That's probably from defeating all of those Slaanesh. Had a lot of missions there. And journey complete, Wilric. Oh, good. One of our exalted heroes has arrived. We need another to move into this army. Frankly, one would have been okay as well, but we want the Chaos Commander to increase the melee defense of the Forsaken, which admittedly is extremely low. We also need 2 more Chaos Sorcerers in this army, so there is that to consider. But anyway, we'll deal with that afterwards. We want to see whether Confederation is now on the menu for the Earth's Fjordlings. You will be given Kazidravik. Yes, this is the new territory for... 3 short of Confederation, or fine. We'll wait 2 more turns. How dare you, game. And build that many-eyed tribute, I guess. Assuming that... Wait, Kazidravik... I was hoping that we could do the... like the military agreement and the military access pact, and it's still no dice, unfortunately. We could just give them 8,200 gold, but that's cheap. But that's a lot more expensive than just the many-eyed tribute, so why bother, right? Anyway, that's those guys in terms of Confed. There's probably other options available, potentially. So I'm gonna have to think about Azag, but anyway, you are starting to build up your Tsangors. We also have to think about what kind of lord will want to command them. Now, I think for beastmen you get a huge speed buff from the demonic lords, but otherwise it's probably going to be inferior. Barrier and missile strength, and speed and melee attack and charge. What about mortal lords? Let's take a look at Rel. Mortal Lords will give them melee attack and armor. Okay, I'm already on board with the armor. And nothing else here, I take it? Ooh, melee defense for the Centaurs. Oh, that's probably the way to do it. Legion of Doom gives us more armor, more melee defense. Yeah, we should have a Mortal Lord commanding them. Actually, I wonder, do demon princes get the mortal tree, or do they get the demonic tree, like the exalted... like the exalted greater demons? I guess we're gonna have to find that out. Anyway, what do we have in terms of defenses at Blizzard Peak? Not much by the looks of it. Let's see if Ragnar Heldenmouth slash the piles of furies, well, maybe not even piles of blue horrors and furies. Close victory, low casualties, eh? He had the Lichbone Pennant. You know, put it on the blue scribes just so that maybe they don't take as much damage from enemy spells if they get hit by spells, which is potentially possible. Anyway, you're gonna go here. Obviously to reinforce, because you're looking to evolve into an exalted Lord of Change. Kairos, you are going to hit the Bulgers Camp. And then obviously Rel is going to reinforce with Cold and Co. I'm gonna have to transfer anybody from you. Malefics, you have Tormentor, which is fine. In fact, what we want is to get another sorcerer with Tormentor available. We can't build sorcerers. Yes, we can here. Oh, metal Tormentor. Fantastic. That's exactly who I wanted. Yeah, let's put 2 sorcerers in that army. One with metal and one with Tzeentch. Both with Tormentor on them. Get access to a little bit of extra Spirit Leech. I like it a lot. Yeah, we're gonna keep you. Actually, this makes me think, what do we want for Mr. Far More to Woemaker? In terms of Chaos Sorcerers. He does want Chaos Sorcerers as well. Fixated is decent for pretty much everybody. Cruel is decent for pretty much everybody because of the greater magic bond. We could just double up on these two if we really wanted to. Certainly something to consider as well. Rather than, you know, waiting forever to get that, army, it's actual sorcerers. I assume that we can't... A moment. The map is big and just jumping around it. Oh, wow, there's still going to be a lot more Slaanesh to work our way through, as it were. What I wanted to see was we can't build... Okay, we can build cultists here, but we can't build sorcerers. And we won't be able to here, meaning we'll have to build them elsewhere. Now, your guy here is an iridescent horror of Tzeentch. We could have a sorcerer of Tzeentch and a sorcerer of metal, or just double up on metal sorcerers. Then again, you're already a metal sorcerer. Big old pile of Searing Doom isn't a horrible option either. Alright, we also want to check the Horrors, Transmutation of Lead, and Covetous. Not a huge fan of either one of these. For the blue scribes, I mean, but we'll see. We might be getting others. Anyway, back to Chaos Sorcerers. Oh, there's no easy way... Well, actually, it's not that long of a path. Alright, that's fine. Chaos Sorcerer. Cruel and Fixated. No metal. Oh, then we would have no metal at all. We just have Tzeentch. Well, that is a Forsaken army. Maybe they should be Tzeentch Sorcerers. Screw it. Let's just do these two, rather than waiting. Double up on their Chaos Sorcerers, and then that army will be complete, rather than going for any particular and specific choices. Anyway, 2 Bulgers Camp. You can auto-resolve this for obvious reasons. Yes, alright, that's fine. I did not quick save, please don't crash. Okay, now we're good. Long shot something. Forest Cloak, don't care about either of those. You guys keep on moving forward. You gotta meet up with these armies. I'm going to assume that Oscar Trollhewer can occupy this place without these guys interfering, or at least I hope that he can. You guys just suffer a little bit of attrition, just keep moving. Or get to moving, I don't want to waste time. All of these armies have places to be in, so I gotta get to those places. Ragnar Heldenmouth, you can auto-resolve this. Probably gonna hurt the birds or the Furies, but, well... It is what it is. This is obviously not worth fighting. Oh, it actually didn't hurt them too much. And what do we have here? Banner of Hellfire. Weakness to fire damage. Causes damage to combatants. This is nice. This is very nice. Huh. Weakness to fire damage, eh? Recharges if engaged in melee. Alright, we should definitely pop that into our Flamer army, and, well, frankly, a lot of armies could probably use the fire weakness. That's real good. Alrighty, you hold on to it for now. We'll probably give that to somebody specific later. TBA Corvum, yeah, you can hold on to your thing, whatever. Don't collect the income here, as there's a decent likelihood we'll be trading it. You, new Chaos Sorcerer, that's Tormentor, you are... Oh, right, that was this turn. Fine. Now, let's keep everybody else moving. Oh, speaking of everybody else, at the end of the turn, these guys decided to declare war on us. Isn't that interesting? These 2 armies, though. Just piles of skeletons. We did get mana back, not a lot of it, but actually a decent amount of it. I do like the fact that they moved apart from each other. 4 armies these guys probably couldn't handle. 2 armies, on the other hand, definitely a possibility. Anyway, since you guys are not going to the realm of Nurgle, at least for now, we're going to teleport you down like so. And we're going to teleport you down like so as well. There goes your mana, but you can recover on your way back. We'll need help attacking on this. I also just want to double check our treaties right now. How's everybody looking? Still, what is this? Steel Fist Reavers, they're not liking something, and because of this you can't see what. Alright, you know what? We are going to have to keep our guys happy, so we'll probably have to do some more war declarations. Also, we're not going to bother constructing the outpost, but we'll take some missions. Kill King Etabam. You don't have an option of King Etabam, that's fine. King Etabam. Everybody wants King Atabam dead. We will be happy to oblige. And he's right there. All right. Let's invest in a little bit of magic. I'm going to say Gehenna's Golden Hands is going to be super critical here, so let's max it out, as if you're going to be casting it a lot, I'd wager. Same thing with the fires of Tzeentch and the fires, blue fires and pink fires, rather. And then what about you? You're a metal sorcerer. You have Gehenna's maxed out. We'll probably want... You already have Fated Protector. Let's get your Prismatic Plurality and then another point in Searing Doom, the stuff that's really critical. You're not on discs, so you won't have quite as much of a capability there, but still pretty good. You're looking to evolve, eh? But also not to die. You don't have a Forbidden Rod. Do we have any spare Forbidden Rods? We had a lot of spare items in this... Okay, we have one. I can't believe we actually ran out of Forbidden Rods. We're gonna need more. Alright, fair enough. We have a bunch of items that are sort of slated for different armies than the ones we're currently using, so we gotta deal with those. Anyway, you guys, you're gonna attack.
Master, here!
Gehenna's is maxed out. I guess you could get metal shifting. All your points don't really matter, simply because... Yeah, get greater loci here, but anyway, all your points don't really matter because you are going to be evolved anyway, since you have that to be ascended thing. Anyway, I believe we're good. And by good, I mean good to attack. Let's see, Tzeentch Corruptions, all enemies have increased miscast chance by 25%. They don't have any casters here, do they? Tomb King, Tomb King, Tomb King, they do not have any casters, so that doesn't help at all. Funnily enough, if we... we could ambush one of these armies. It's an interesting proposition. I'll think about it. Wait, not on that army, though. You can just straight up attack, I guess. Yeah, just straight up attack. Alright, time to wipe some of these guys out, and heroic victory, and you have a banner of change. We'll need to put it on... I guess we'll put it on the Lord. This is also the first time I'll be using giants, and now that we can upgrade those outposts, we just gotta make sure that we replace these two Chaos Spawn with those Norscan Ice Trolls. So now that I think about it, that means we could potentially sacrifice these guys if we deem it necessary. Oh, I like this shield. Anyway, go.
Victorious! It is written in fate! The architect decrees it!
Alrighty, I do like the way that the Chaos Lords of Tzeentch, as in the non-sorcerer lords, speak. Anyway, here we go. We're gonna start the battle of the little good old-fashioned pelting the enemy lines with warp-fired javelins from our piles of Marauder Horsemen of Tzeentch. Guys, chuck your next volley, please. Alright, we're taking a long time to reload, sitting there waiting to check those javelins, considering that, well, admittedly, they don't do too much damage against shielded units, even poorly armored ones like this, but that's alright. They're here to annoy them and separate the enemy, and two of them at least are here to evolve into chariots, because it feels wrong to have a Norscan army without chariots. Anyway, they are nearly there. I think we're at rank 3 already, we only need rank 4, so we'll get a couple of them, and we'll probably have our Exalted Hero lead them on a chariot as well, so that we have a nice little anvil aspect of this particular army. We also now have the Norscan Giants on field, soon to be joined by Norscan Trolls, however, and then the army will be more or less complete once the chariots have evolved as well. Also, with the sort of blue color scheme, and the Giants do look nice and fit in with what we've got going on in terms of our army. I was a little bit worried that, you know, like some units, they don't really have a lot of changing color scheme sort of aspects to them, so they essentially stay as they are, but it looks like the Giants have sufficient stuff to get our color scheme showing. Anyway, looks like the first of the enemy Skelly Boys have arrived. It's a big old pile of Skelly Boys between the two armies, but we gotta remember that we do have a Cataclysm available to us, so if the enemy blobs up sufficiently, I'm sure we'll be able to wipe out a good portion of this army, or the second army, depending on how this portion of the battle goes. Anyway, look at the skeletons here. They decided to loop around us, and since they figured out that they cannot chase down those marauder horses, have decided to charge into the back of the chaos spawn. Well, two can play at that game, and the marauder horsemen that were pelting them in the back will simply charge right through and overrun them, obliterating that one unit. Next, we summon a unit of blue horrors on the field, temporary locus of conjuration that we have on our follower lord. But the purpose of this isn't to do damage, but to distract the enemy units so that we can summon a Gehenna's Golden Hounds right on top of this unit. We also have another Gehenna's Golden Hounds going, but there's nobody to block the enemy there, so just a good old-fashioned damage. First of the enemy units have finally arrived at our line, and the Giants and Chaos Spawn will soon begin actually fighting. There we go, though the Giants are probably going to generally be better at knocking out single entities. They do have Trample and SFO, I think it's an SFO ability that allows them to dish out a little bit of area of effect damage as well. And they were much needed in this particular army. There we go, screaming at those skeletons until they melt away. But the melee defense, or bolstered defense, melee defense +5 given to the Beaky Blinders and the other Marauders, puts their stats up to a pretty good place. Ooh, looks like we've done enough damage to the first army already, and the enemy has summoned its unit of Ushabti on the field. Fortunately, we've got summons of our own, as a Chaos Spawn has arrived from our Banner of Change, as the second use of the Locus of Conjuration has summoned the Blue Horrors, which will start firing into the backs of those Ushabti, even as they're pressed against the anvil of those Chaos Spawns summoned and not. The enemy Lord has arrived, the enemy Tomb King, but is being focused down by an Exalted Hero as well as our Chaos Lord of Tzeentch. And the Giant was helping out a little bit, but frankly it's probably not needed, as I'm sure these two can handle it. Kind of interesting how the Chaos Lord is hovering up higher and the Exalted Hero of Tzeentch is a little bit lower. I know it's probably because of the hill, but it's almost like they're purposely fighting together in such a way where it's more difficult to take one of them on, as you have to both look up and look down as well. It's a pretty neat little combo fight from these two. I love it. Alrighty, and it looks like the Tomb King is just about done. A couple more blows from the Chaos Lord of Tzeentch's hammer, or axe rather, and the Tomb King will fall. The bounce power is still in the enemy's favor, but the first enemy army is pretty much destroyed. Those summoned Ushabti are down to a sliver of HP, and with every volley from the Blue Horrors, with every frenzied wave of a grotesquely cancerous and over-evolved arm there, and Ushabti stiffens and falls to the ground. Also, Slaanesh should giggle. But anyway, the balance of power should be climbing in our favor a little bit in a few seconds. Enemy's second reinforcing army is still on the way, and we were able to separate them as the reinforcements were here. And by attacking on this flank, it looks like we were able to annoy the enemy army quickly enough for them to get ripped apart before this army arrived. Speaking of this army, here we go. Nehekarans probably don't like the look of this particular spell. Might remind them of Nagash, I think. The necromancy type of stuff, ashes and dust. And there we go, those Spirit Leech bony hands come out of the ground and start tearing through the second army, and the damage is absolutely massive. I do wish we could see how much damage was dealt just from the spell alone, but it looks like every single unit in this particular army that was hit by the spell suffered about 90% of its HP in terms of damage, and a couple more will get hit by the Gehenna's Golden Hounds and take even more. There we go. Anyway, still a couple more skeleton warriors to take care of, but it looks like our spawn and our units of marauders are holding them back just fine, and we can help them out a little bit with another charge in from the marauders. Certainly they do decent work with those javelins of theirs, but they can also charge on in. Not quite as effective in melee, I will admit, as Cornate marauders, but these guys have more range damage, yeah, well, at least than the javelin variety. Probably less than the axe throwers, but the axe throwers are armor piercing and very short range. Anyway, that's what I was thinking. I'm pretty sure that, well, I guess all the Khornates are axe throwers, but you get the regular Marauder horses with javelins. Anyway, not that it's super important. Here we go. We just got to clean up the rest of this army. Surprisingly, it is crumbling, but still moving its way towards us, and that's just fine. Nice for this new army to get a little bit more playtime. They had such a tough time in their first battle against the Tomb Kings. Now they gotta take their revenge. And there we go, charging through the ranks of enemy skeletons that remain. I'm gonna pop our buffs and debuffs, and gonna get ready to move our units of Marauder horses in as well to help out. They've been in melee a fair bit in this particular battle, and they may as well finish the battle in melee. And there we go. Maybe call it a little bit of a competition. Whoever here does the best in melee will get to ride those chariots as Chaos Warriors rather than as mere Marauders on horses. And oh, the enemy Tomb King is here as well on a chariot of all things. We were just talking about those. Huh. No, it actually does look like the Lord hovers higher than the Exalted Hero, which I guess makes sense. But anyway, looks like the enemy Lord wants no part of this, and rather than dueling the Lord and the Exalted Hero, will actually attempt to give chase to our Marauder horses of Tzeentch. Probably thinking that while he's on a chariot, there's no way that he's damaging our Chaos Lord or our Exalted Hero, but that's not going to work out as those javelins hit him and bring the Lord down. Very nice. Alrighty, and with that, the first of the revenge battles for this little Marauder army is complete. More to go. Oh, an Armor of Destiny, not a bad find at all, I'd say. Now, the enemy armies were destroyed, and we are, well, there's no need to heal, because we barely took any damage here, which is great. Beaky Blinders, 2.5k, we've got, or 5k rather, 2.5k on paid in exposure, and 8.9k, oh, it looks like paid in mutation, or the ones that carried the day there, though the Rave Bouncers with 15,000 damage, huh, interesting. Looks like the spear-wielding Marauders did considerably more damage for both of them than the axe-wielding Marauders. It's kind of curious, because we were fighting infantry units and no large units whatsoever. I wonder why that is. Well, good job to them. Maybe it's because they were on the flanks and there were more enemies concentrated on the flanks, perhaps. But anyway. Anyway, we wiped out one army with our army and then promptly proceeded to wipe out the second army with a Cataclysm spell. And otherwise, no problem. So we'll offer them as tribute and we will wipe out these guys, I guess, immediately after. Now, these two are going to be tougher. A, because they have Tomb Guard. B, because they have Ushapti and Screaming Skull Catapults and Sepulchral Stalkers. And ooh, tons of Nehekara Horsemen and Skeleton Horsemen. So yeah, definitely going to be a considerably tougher little force than we fought this time. However, we're going to have to save it until next time because unfortunately we are out of time and I'm going to call the episode here. On the bright side, this will mean we'll be able to start the next episode with a big old fight with these guys and certainly a tougher one, and then afterwards proceed towards Wadi El Ghutani and try to wipe it out with these armies. It looks like before Amon Chakai returns with his cockatrices in tow. And ooh, I noticed that the rats have ignored us and have moved this way, so we might want to maybe wipe out Toxid and the Corrupted with Vizier Fateblaze rather than pushing towards El Kabath, but we'll see. I just gotta clean these guys up while we continue. Oh, Nakari doesn't like our treaties with the Warriors of Chaos either. Alright, you know what I think we'll do next episode? If I don't forget, what we'll do is we'll declare war on all of the Wood Elves factions. There's a bunch of them, and by being at war with all of them, that would mean hopefully all of our allies are happier with each other. Just got to keep those chaos forces focused on the right, focused in the right direction, essentially, rather than devolving into infighting. Is this what Abaddon feels like? But anyway, we'll see about that next time, as well as hopefully meeting up with these armies and moving on or teleporting on towards the realms of men. Stay tuned for more Kairos. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, as they will determine how long this campaign continues to run for. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.